Hey everybody, welcome to another episode. My name is Daniel, the psychology student, here to bring you my 2 cents for my personal anecdotes, lectures, notes, and all that good stuff. Today's episode is going to be about how to talk to someone who's not doing well. So, again, this is not therapy, this is not counseling, this is not coaching. This is you want to be a good friend, a boyfriend, a girlfriend to someone who maybe isn't having the greatest day. We're going to talk about what to say and what not to say, which will give you the best possible outcome for you, for them, and for your relationship. The first thing to understand is when someone is not having a bad day, I said the word already, understand. What is it about this day? What is it about this issue that bothers you? Okay? The word I want you to underline is you. Because you might say, look, what's bothering you? Oh, my school, like my studies are bothering me. What about it is an issue to you? Because I might assume, and I say, well, you're probably overworked, you've probably got a lot of assignments, maybe a prof is being extra hard on you, whatever. What is it specifically? It might be your girlfriend, it might be your boyfriend, husband, wife coming home from work. What is it exactly that's impacting your mood? Or you don't have a great relationship with your boss. Tell me more about that. What does that mean to you? And then they'll kind of open up and they'll start to self-disclose a little bit. And self-disclose just means basically open up. They'll start talking about themselves, revealing information about themselves that could help you better understand what's going on. Now, people will oftentimes talk about things that make them upset, but a lot of times they give away signals in an indirect manner. It's the classic cliche of you go to your girlfriend, you say, hey, is everything okay? She goes, I'm fine. Right? And then the oblivious guy goes, oh, thank God, I thought there was something wrong. Not realizing that her body language is closed off, she's not making eye contact, she's not smiling, she looks down, she looks sad. So there's a lot of telltale signs. So you get past that, right? You sit down, you look at someone, you go, hey, look, I might be wrong about this, but is everything all right? Or tell me about your day. How was your day? How was work today? Anything happened at work that stood out to you? And then they start opening up a little bit. And then that's where you get the ball rolling to start talking about feeling and meaning and content. And this stuff is all super important that when you're the listener, you're making sure that you're A, being responsive, and B, they notice you being responsive. Look, if I want to disclose information to you, if something bad happened to me, it's important that I feel safe enough, that I trust you enough so that I can open up without you judging me, without you belittling me for it, and without you invalidating my experiences of it. Right? If I say, look, this thing happened at work and it's really bothering me, you're replying and saying it's no big deal is not a great thing. See, for most people, when they reply like that, they go, look, it's not a big deal to me, and I want to convince the other person that it shouldn't be a big deal to them, so then they can move on. Here's the problem. What you think is irrelevant. If I think problem X isn't a big deal to me, that doesn't matter. What do you think of problem X? Because if it's a big deal to you, well then that's what I'm going to focus in on, right? Because this isn't about me. This isn't about my issue. This is about your issue. And I want to be accepting of the fact that we look at obstacles differently. Something that might be easy for me to overcome might be extremely hard for you to overcome, and vice versa. So that's the first note. It's not belittling someone or invalidating someone's experiences. And being accepting and being non-judgmental. So when they say, look, this thing happened at work today, or the kids did this, I feel stressed, I feel angry, I would not recommend saying it's no big deal, or you're being overly sensitive, or well, I don't see any problem with that, right? But instead you listen. And maybe you say something like, could you expand on that? Or, oh, okay, you seem to be really stressed from work. I'd love to hear more about that. Right? So you kind of get it going and you're trying to say, well, look, what about this issue bothers you? Again, underline you. It doesn't have to bother me. You might tell me the issue and I might go, this would never bother me. That doesn't matter. What matters is that this bothers you, and the way that I solve this problem is I address your feelings. Right? Let's say your girlfriend comes home, she goes, look, my supervisor said this to me and I feel really upset. Something that guys do, which works a lot in the workforce, is those immediate problem-solving answers. So I might be influenced to reply with, well, when you go to work tomorrow, say this instead. There we go, problem solved. Whereas what she might want more than anything is just someone to sit and listen. And for many people, especially men, this is a very hard thing to grasp because we're so problem oriented. We're in positions where you don't have time to think about emotions and feelings and listening. You need an answer. You need an answer fast. There is no room for subjectivity. You're looking at facts. You're looking at numbers. You're looking at very black and white things. But in this situation, sometimes the best thing to do when someone's having a bad day is just to listen. Is to sit there and go, look, if you're going through something, I'm more than happy to listen. And then they start opening up, they start telling you how you feel. Once again, I really want to reiterate the importance of this idea. When someone says, look, I'm really upset because X happened. And you go, well, look, it could be worse. Here's why that doesn't help. Imagine you're my friend. I tell you, man, Amanda cheated on me. You're saying, well, at least she didn't have an affair. At least it was just once. Like, dude, that's not any better, right? Like, the idea here is I want to make you feel grateful because, oh, it could have been worse. Yeah, but it could have been better. You could have also been like, yeah, or she could have just not cheated on you at all. But this idea of could have happened and would have happened and what if this happened and should have happened, that's not real. All of that is imaginative. That's fictional. Do you know what is non-fictional? Me looking at you and telling you my girlfriend cheated on me. And if you look at me and goes, oh, I'm sorry, man, it's not a big deal. Now what did you just do? What if that's the love of my life? What if I just bought the engagement ring? Because I think it's a big deal, but you saying it's not a big deal, what's that going to make me think? Am I going to go, you know what, Brad's right, it's not a big deal, F her. Or am I going to go, yeah, it's not a big deal. Why is this making me so upset? Brad told me it's not a big deal. God, I shouldn't be feeling this upset. Who the hell is Brad to tell me if it is a big deal or not a big deal? So all of a sudden, what you do is when you try to downplay the consequences of a situation, you are putting the helpee, the person who's coming to you, in a weird spot. Because they go, well, look, I feel horrible about this. And you telling me, or like my favorite is, don't be upset. Like the girl's just crying, she's pouring her eyes out. I was like, don't be upset, don't be, right? And then she just wipes her like tears away and she's like, yeah, okay, for sure. Thanks for letting me know, right? Well, in reality, it's when people are emotional, it's important to just let it out. It's important to be heard. And those quick responses of don't worry about it, it doesn't matter, it's not a big deal, can actually be more harmful than helpful. In my humble opinion as a psychology student, if my friend came up to me and he said, you know, this girl that I loved, we've been in a relationship with, she cheated on me, I wouldn't say, well, at least she didn't have an affair. I wouldn't say, look, it's not a big deal. I wouldn't say, look, you're going to move on in 2 weeks anyways. I'd just sit there and go, dude, I'm so sorry. I can't imagine how you're feeling right now. And what I'm doing is I am vocalizing the feelings that he's having internally. So I further invite him to disclose more information. And he's going to reply with like, yeah, man, like I'm so upset. And, or sometimes what you could even do is you could put the feeling in their mouth. So you could say, oh, dude, you must feel so upset. You know, you feel very upset at this. And this is a win-win because either they reply with, yeah, I do really feel upset. Or they correct you. They go, no, Daniel, I don't feel upset. I feel angry. I feel resentment. How could she do this to me? So don't be worried about being inaccurate with your emotion, because either or, they're going to tell you. Either you're right, you hit it on the nail, and they're going to think, oh, wow, Daniel really understands me on a deeper level. Or B, he corrects me and he goes, no, that's actually not what I'm feeling. I'm feeling X. Well, good, because now you can correct me. Because I would rather say it incorrectly out loud and you correct me rather than keep that incorrect assumption in my head. Right? It'll help us get to a deeper place in the conversation. So, you tell me that your girlfriend's cheated on you, and or whatever it may be, or something bad happened at work, you and your supervisor aren't seeing eye to eye, your friend just started acting differently, cold towards you, whatever it may be. First of all, I'm accepting your emotions for what they are. I don't maximize them. I don't go, oh my God, wow, oh, whoa, that's great. I don't agree with you necessarily, but I don't disagree either. Oh, you're making a big deal out of nothing. I'm trying to stay in the neutral ground, and I want you to lead it. If you're making it look like it's the biggest thing in the world, I'm not going to shoot that idea down immediately. Right? If you tell me, Daniel, like my life's over now, like Jesse was the best thing that's ever happened to me, I will follow along, and I won't necessarily say you're right, she is the best thing that's happened to you, but I won't necessarily say, dude, you're crazy either. I'll say, well, tell me more about that, right? Expand on that. And what I want the individual to do is I want them to express themselves. I want them to pull those unconscious thoughts that they might not even be aware of into their conscious thought and to say it out loud. Because not only is it good for me to understand, but it's good for him to understand himself and know why he feels so upset. So when someone feels upset, saying things like, you shouldn't be upset, or don't feel that way, or the old classic one where it's like, imagine your friend comes up to you and they go, hey, Samantha, I'm hungry. And you go, there's a bunch of kids in Kenya that are hungry. Okay, I'm still hungry. Are we gonna get lunch or what? So I've never been a fan of that. Like focusing on the more negative to make your garbage situation look less terrible. I'm not a fan. Just take it for what it is. And I believe acceptance is the best way to start moving forward. So you have someone in your life, they're not doing too well. First of all is you can't force helping down someone's throat. You got to make sure they want help. Maybe you check in on them. You go, hey, is everything all right? Like, are you feeling okay? They say yes. They say no. Maybe they say yes, I feel great, but they're lying. Right? But then you forcing this, like, no, you have to talk to me. I know that I won't let you leave the room. That might not be the best approach. Because a person, if they're in a bad mood, maybe they don't want to have a dialogue right now. But maybe you questioning them tells them, oh, you care about me. You noticed. And then when you leave them alone, a couple hours later, maybe they come to you and then they open up. And when they open up, it's important to listen. It's important to keep eye contact. It's important to keep it about them as opposed to about you. So be careful with that last one, because in one sense, if you tell me about how your friend's treating you super terribly, I want to be careful with how much I say, yeah, I had a friend's one and they treated me super terribly. Like, be careful, because you want to empathize to say you're not alone. But if I keep saying, yeah, this is what happened to me and this is what happened to me, I don't want to take the spotlight off of you. It's about you, right? It's about the person who's not doing well, and I want to be here for you. And if you need someone to listen to, I'm more than happy to listen to you. And I'm not going to invalidate your feelings. I'm not going to belittle you for whatever you're going through, but I'm going to listen as non-judgmentally as possible. And this is extremely hard with people who you know. With a stranger, it's actually easier, believe it or not, because you can stay more professional, you can stay farther away. But if you're talking to a sibling, a girlfriend, a best friend, a brother, it's hard because you're emotionally attached to that person, and that stuff's going to end up bleeding through in the conversation. Biggest takeaways should be you can't force someone to open up. If someone is opening up, don't be arrogant in thinking you understand the issue. Always ask, what about this bothers you? Like, specifically. But what about this is it that creates this feeling of anger or this feeling of sadness that you talked about? And as they start to open up, your only thing should be to understand. I just want to understand. I want to give you a platform to open up with your frustrations. And when you talk about real problem solving, okay, here, this is what we can do, ABC. In my opinion, that stuff only comes after you've done the beginning, where you've let them express their thoughts, you've let them express their feelings, and you understand the meaning behind it. Girl comes up to me and says, look, I have a job interview coming up and I'm super stressed. Also, my boyfriend broke up with me a couple days ago, so I feel terrible. What do I say? Personally, let's say I would say something along the lines of, look, Julie, you're stressed about your job interview coming up. You're stressed because a few days ago, your boyfriend told you that you weren't good enough and he rejected you. And you don't know if you can handle a second rejection in 1 week. So what I'm doing now is and this is, you know them well, you know the backstory. You're not just gonna, someone sneezes and you go, oh my God, you've got confidence issues. Like, you're not gonna throw that out there. But I'm assuming that you know this person, you know their story. And after a while, if only you can do this after you've listened to their feelings, after you've listened to the content, and then you can merge stuff together, right? I could have said, look, Julie, everybody gets nervous when they go to a job interview. I could have said, oh my God, Julie, you're right. This job interview is going to change your life. If you don't get it, oh my God, your life's going to be over. But I didn't say that. I took into account how she felt after her breakup. Specifically, again, this is not everybody who goes through a breakup and is about to apply for a job interview. This is specifically the story that I've created in my mind for this session. And in this story, Julie feels anxious because her boyfriend just rejected her. He broke up with her because he said, we don't match. You don't have what I'm looking for. So he turned her away. How is that any different from an employer turning you away? So what I was doing there is I was creating this idea of like, look, those wounds that were opened up by your now ex-boyfriend haven't healed. And if you get rejected, all those stitches, they're just going to open right back up. And it's going to hurt that much more. So now what I'm doing is I'm going beyond feelings. I'm going beyond paraphrasing. I'm searching for meaning. That's why this job interview means, like, screw the job. Screw the finances. This is about identity and this is about competence. This is about being lonely. This is about not knowing if you're good enough at insert blank, being a partner, being an employer, being an employee, or maybe you're positioning for a supervising role, right? So now you go deeper than just, oh man, it sucks that you feel that way. It's like, no, look, you feel terrible because what does that say about you as a person? If you get turned away from two different places, that means something to you. What does that say about you? What's wrong with you? And that, my friends, that's when you get to the real issue. Because look, your boyfriend left, that hurts. You get rejected from a job, that hurts you. It's going to take you longer to find another job to start making money. But what's the underlying issue here? For that young lady in particular, it's rejection. It's the idea of self-worth. How good am I? How competent am I? How good of a partner am I? How good of an employee am I? How good of a person am I? And if I get rejected by both, what does that say about me as a human being? And that is the worry. But imagine if I would have said, oh, people break up all the time. Or whatever, there's 50 more job interviews. You're very on the surface. You're super on the surface and you're not getting to the deeper meaning. And maybe she doesn't even know that. Like maybe the moment I tied together her boyfriend leaving her and the job interview and how rejection plays such a pivotal role, maybe she takes a second and she goes, oh yeah, you're right. That is what I'm worried about. But I can't get to there if we don't start off with me saying, hey, are you feeling all right? And she goes, no, I'm feeling pretty terrible actually. And I say, oh, well, tell me more about that. And then she starts opening up. And then I highlight her feelings. And then I nod and I respond and I keep eye contact and I face her while we're talking. And I don't interrupt unless I want to interrupt because I want to clarify something or I want to agree with her or further elaborate on something that she said to make sure that we're both on the same boat. And once you've done that, you can derive meaning with their help in a collaborative manner. So you've validated their emotions. You've told them that I'm listening to what you're saying. You've communicated that to them so they know that I'm listening. You've talked about meaning. And when you get to meaning, that's the part that everybody wants to jump to. That's the part where now you can start looking at more practical problem solving in terms of, okay, look, let's talk about rejection. Let's talk about external validation. Let's talk about the value that you put on your boyfriend and the way that he looked at you, the value that you're putting on this employer, then you can get into that stuff. But in the very beginning, if you just shoulder shrug with those surface level comments, there's just no way. There's no way someone's going to be able to disclose if they feel like the door's not open. Your role should always be, look, the door's open. You're always welcome to talk, and I care about you. And I'm more than happy to listen. And if you do that, you roll out the red carpet and they'll talk. Now, it's not going to happen like that in 15 minutes. You might roll out that carpet, give an invitational sense, and they might not talk for a day. They might not disclose more than anything than just, I just got into it with my supervisor. You say, oh, do you want to tell me more about that? Like that, we just don't see eye to eye. And if they don't want to go deeper, dude, so be it. It's important that you're there for them, but don't expect this to happen in one conversation. This could take 2, 3, this could take a week, this could take months. Everybody can do this. It's just a matter of patience and effort. A lot of people, they say, look, I'm not willing to have this conversation again once a week for the next 3 months. talk to me once. This is what you should do. If you don't want to listen to my advice, whatever, screw it. That's how most people operate. I shouldn't say most. That's how a lot of people operate. But it's not the idea of you can't. It's that you choose not to put effort into because maybe you're aware and it's not a big deal, or maybe you're not aware. And hopefully this talk is making you aware. So the next time somebody comes up to you or you see them, they're not doing too well, obviously take into account your relationship with them, the social context, how comfortable you feel, and try implementing some of those things that I've said here today. And let me know how it goes. Like, if you can, send me a DM on Instagram. Reach out to me. Be like, hey, man, I gave this stuff a try. It went excellent because of this, and this. Or, dude, I tried this. It didn't work at all. What went wrong? Thank you so much for listening, everybody. This has been another episode. Stay safe and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.